22nd of November, 1:14 p.m., Supreme Court of Judicature. Courtroom 2. Well, I understand you are the judicial assistant to the defense, but why this sudden ingress into my courtroom?
Ha! A judicial assistant and a woman, no less. The rules state that females are not permitted into this court of law other than to testify.
Man, he did a full, 180. Aren't you, practically worshipping the other woman? Sheesh.
Yes, I fully understand. I ask only for 5 minutes of time. I have some vital evidence that I must hand over to the defense.
Ha! You're too late, little girl. This trial's already been concluded.
5 minutes. I will not allow a moment more.
What? Your Excellency!
I am most grateful.
Hello. Who exactly are you?
I'm sorry, there's no time. Please, simply accept this for now.
What is it? A report about something? Written in English?
It's Giselle Brett's research.
The English woman's?
After the trial resumed early, I hurried back to the university. I went to Dr. Wilson's laboratory in the medical faculty and borrowed this paper.
Ah, yeah. Oh, yes, that's right. Miss Brett was studying under the professor, wasn't she? So, does this research, whatever it is, has something to do with the case?
I'm afraid I don't know. I haven't been able to listen to the proceedings of the trial myself.
Oh, no. Of course not.
Special characteristics of Curar and its effects on human subjects. Interesting.
Curar? What's that? I never heard that word before.
Time's up! The prosecution demands the immediate removal of this female trespasser from the courtroom.
There's too little time for me to read it in detail, but I've summarized what I could on a note just inside the cover. If you think it could be valuable, please cast your eye over it.
This is wonderful. Thank you. Giselle's report has been entered into the court record. Report detailing an unknown poison that Miss Brett has been researching during her time at UMA University.
Goodbye then, and good luck.
Oh, she disappeared. You have had long enough, Counsel. We cannot detain our English guest any longer. I ask the prosecution and the defense now, one last time. Does either side have any further evidence to present to the court? I presume not, but...
The prosecution has made its case convincingly enough already. Nothing more to add, Your Excellency.
Basically, we're out of options here. This really is our very last chance. Yes, I know. Your Excellency, the defense does have new evidence. That look. The unyielding stare of a true Japanese warrior. Well, Miss Brett.
Yes, Your Excellency?
If you wouldn't mind, perhaps you could grace us with your presence a little longer.
It's a delightful invitation, but I'm afraid it's not so very long until tea time. I have plenty.
Forgive me, Miss Brett. It seems I wasn't clear. I realize it was phrased as a question. However, I must ask you to treat that as an order.
I've said it many times before, but the Japanese language makes no sense.
My apologies, dear lady. So, Counsel, what is this new evidence that demands the court's attention? I mean, clearly it's this report. She's developing a new type of poison that they wouldn't have checked for. Miss Giseline Brett. We understand you are studying under Dr. Wilson at Umeå University doing research. Research, by sheer coincidence perhaps, into a deadly poison.
What?
Poison? Where are you going with this, Counsel? A toxin known as Curar, Your Excellency. Even the slightest amount of this deadly poison entering the body leads to instant death.
What? What complete and utter nonsense? Curar, you say? I've never even heard of it.
You wouldn't have done.
What do you mean?
I mean that you wouldn't have heard of Curar before for one very simple reason. It doesn't exist in our country. It doesn't exist. Correct, which means, no matter what tests the police can do for toxins, they'd never identify Curar. Why? Because there is no test available here that can identify the presence of this highly deadly poison.
What?
Order, order, order! Consul, does this deadly poison truly exist? According to this report authored by the visiting research student from England, Curar has long been used by tribespeople of South America as a poison to lace their arrows. It seems that it's reasonably well known among European doctors and scientists.
To lace their arrows?
The report states that it is produced from the extract of a tree that grows deep in the Amazonian jungle. And it was first brought back to Europe at the turn of the century by explorers. It claims that animals shot by arrows laced with Curar suffer instant death. Doesn't that about sum it up, Miss Brett?
Trumpery! These aspirations are utter trumpery! Or aspersions, rather. And aspirations to not be found guilty, but these aspersions are complete trumpery. To start with, if the victim had been administered some of the so-called deadly poison, he would have been squirming and writhing in pain, and the other diners would have surely noticed.
What part of instant death do you not understand? That's true. What do you say to that, Inspector? Obviously, I would have noticed a disturbance like that. I don't remember anything like that either. I didn't notice the professor being in any kind of pain. According to this, however, it's the other way around.
What do you mean, the other way around?
The very fact that the victim didn't show any visible signs of distress is evidence that Curar was used. Explain yourself, Consul. The moment this toxin enters a person's system, it causes instant paralysis. In other words, afflicted victims lose all strength and are completely unable to move. Even if they were in total agony, there would be no visible signs of pain at all. How terrible. Obviously, if a man lost all strength in his muscles, he'd collapse on the floor. But with a chair underneath him for support, as Dr. Wilson did, the effects could go largely unnoticed. But I don't follow, Kazuma. That's just paralysis. I thought the poison caused instant death. The full explanation is extremely unpleasant. The poison causes immediate paralysis, as I said, leaving the victim unable to move. But after a short time, the paralysis is so severe, it causes the muscles that control respiration to fail. That makes sense. Respiration? In other words, the actual cause of death is suffocation. And all the while, the victim is conscious and aware, just unable to move.
That's hideous!
To the observer, it would look almost like the victim was slipping peacefully into an endless sleep. But for the victim himself, his final moments would be a living hell. That is the true nature of this deadly curer poison. Well then, I mean, slam dunk, right? Mission complete? And you're suggesting that this bottle console actually contains this terrifying poison?
This is all very convenient, isn't it? A hitherto unknown poison for which there is no means of testing. What a happy tale for the defense.
We could test it. If we had someone willing to make a sacrifice around here. Or we could bring in, like, an animal, perhaps? If I may.
All these facts, you think you're so clever. It is you who must be taught.
Of course.
Dear lady.
So, this is how you Japanese behave, is it?
What?
You steal another's honest hard work, and then announce the results of it
As if you discovered them? I'm appalled. What a loathsome act.
Well, Miss Brett, the feeling is mutual.
Whatever do you mean?
Capitalizing on the unfortunate circumstances of an innocent man to frame him for a heinous crime? That really is a loathsome act. Wouldn't you agree?
Enough of this. I, for one, refuse to accept it. The idea of some poison that doesn't even exist in the great empire of Japan is breaking the rules.
What's so funny?
Oh, excuse me, Your Excellency.
Yes, Miss Brett?
May I borrow that bottle for a moment, please?
She's going to drink it, but she already has the antidote. Probably. Well, yes, I don't see why not. This is bold.
Don't get too big for your boots, you insignificant little island boys.
Sorry?
To an Englishwoman such as myself, Soul Affair is a farcical comedy. Your little police games and these foolish court romantics, it's laughable, really. But I'm getting bored of it all now. It is time for the games to end. Cheers!
Wait, what are you doing?
No sparkle left after all. How appropriate for this shabby affair.
Man, she's good. She's good.
Goodness! Whatever is the matter, you all look quite stunned.
So, no cure. Could have been in the glass. The bottle was clean. Is that what you're saying?
You look quite incredulous, little boy. But of course, that's the simple truth. Thank you for presenting the findings of my research so concisely here in this grand venue. Most kind. Thank you, waiter. Now then, Your Excellency.
Yes, Miss Brett?
I should like to be excused now, please. I think I've given more than enough of my time for the furtherance of friendship between our countries.
Yes, dear lady. We are most gratified with all the assistance you have given. This doesn't make sense. There had to have been poison in that bottle. So how did she swallow a whole glass and live to tell the tale? I don't understand it.
Well, I suppose if nothing else, this little Far Eastern charade will make for interesting conversation at the next party I attend in London.
There has to have been poison in that bottle. Doesn't there? But there can't have been. Because otherwise she would have keeled over dead. Come on, Ryunosuke. We have all the clues now. That bottle of water. Well, let's think about this. The way I see it, there's two plausible scenarios. Okay, poison from trees in South America. Hunters have used it since ancient times. Instantly paralyzes. Enters the body through a wound, such as the solution for respiratory arrest caused as a result of the full body. Route of entry. The above-mentioned effects occur when the poison enters the body through a wound, such as that inflicted by a a wound! There was poison in that bottle. But, route of entry, it says wound. Wound. As in, a cut, entering the bloodstream. Not through digestion. Or ingestion, or whatever. Her mouth is healthy. No wounds to get into. The deceased's mouth had just undergone surgery. Need I say more? It contained poison. The culprit did put cure poison into Dr. Wilson's carbonated water. The defense refuses to change its position. You serious?
Fool! Are you blind? There's no possible way that bottle could contain poison. I mean, we just saw.
Miss Brett drinking the water from it?
That's right. Which rather complicates your argument, I think.
And I believe that complication can be explained.
How exactly?
I need to think through all the things that don't quite add up here, one by one. I'm sure the answer's in the evidence we have in the court record somewhere. It has to be. Very well. If the defense truly intends to assert this claim, then I must ask you to support the assertion with evidence. What explains how the witness was able to consume this supposedly poisoned water unscathed? It needs a wound as its entry point.
Yes.
The answer to this riddle is right here in Miss Brett's own research report.
That's not a valid explanation.
No?
After all, we don't speak English. That report is utter gibberish. This impudent young scoundrel is trying to ridicule the court, Your Excellency.
I'm not trying to ridicule anyone, honest. I'm just reading Susato-san's notes. I concur. This report is too extensive to be considered in its entirety by the court. Too extensive? Don't you want, like, good, thorough evidence? You'll direct us to the pertinent section, Counsel. Which section of the report reveals the alleged answer to this riddle? Can I just take a look at it? Which section is this under? Examine. It's not in the synopsis. Special characteristics, yes. Route of entry. Okay, it's in the special characteristics. We've been hearing a lot about this cure rare poison. And it's left me curious about something. Oh, Council? Well, it sounds as though indigenous hunters have been using this poison for years and years to lace the heads of their arrows that they shoot at whatever prey they're hunting. So we've been led to believe, yes. And the point of hunting is to catch prey to eat.
Get to the point, please.
But if they were to use these laced arrows, doesn't that mean there would be traces of poison left in the prey the hunters were going to eat? Yes, good point. So surely the hunters wouldn't want to eat their prey, would they? Because then they'd be eating poison. Good gracious, Council! No, that would be madness! But I actually found the answer to that conundrum in this research paper here. Under special characteristics, it says this. The poison starts to work after entering the body through a wound. Through a wound, you say? I see, that makes sense. Yes, the mention of that particular detail seemed a little strange to me, though. But it all makes sense when you interpret what's written like this. When cure enters the body through an opened wound, it has terrifying poisonous effects. However, when it enters the body via the mouth, it has no poisonous effects whatsoever.
What?
Miss Brett, you authored this research. You knew Cure's special characteristics. And you knew that you could make a spectacle of drinking the water without any danger to yourself.
You middling little...
Wait, it was a real swan this whole time? Well, it's okay, it turns out. You're an even better lawyer than I thought you'd be. Really? Me? A lawyer?
All this poison talk is fascinating, I'm sure. But I fail to see how it possibly...
So, the ill-bred little puppy has a new toy to play with, some facts he read in a book. But I'm afraid knowledge doesn't suit you, little boy. It only makes you look silly.
What are you trying to say?
Your schoolboyish logic has a fatal flaw.
Schoolboyish? Flaw?
As even your brain has managed to deduce, cure is safe to ingest. It seems likely that its effects are neutralized by the acidic nature of the gastric succus? I don't know.
Oh, yes, well, of course. Gastric suckers? What are they?
So, if this lethal poison is completely harmless and drunk, the professor wouldn't have died when he swallowed it, would he?
No, wait a second. We already got this. He had just had dental surgery, which involves open wounds in the mouth. I know, I've experienced such things before.
That's right!
Good gracious!
That's basic science. Science that even a schoolboy should be able to understand, no?
Order in the court, order! Logic holds. If the lady and the professor drank the same poison, they'd be affected in the same way. Are you trying to suggest...
Yes, this cure poison is completely irrelevant to the case on trial.
That's right. Surely even a little cockroach like you could understand something as simple as that.
Edward, we got this, Seeker. What is this? Welling up inside me. I've never felt like this before. It's a sort of conviction to break down all the discrepancies. It's so intense, almost rage-like. It's because of the dental surgery. And more than anything else, it's an animalistic desire to take down my prey.
Objection.
Ooh, that's like the iconic finger point, isn't it? And an objection instead of a yes? I don't think so, Miss Giselle Brett.
How dare you use that tone with me?
You know very well that there's no fatal flaw here. You know exactly why, even though both you and the victim swallowed the same poison. You are alive, but Dr. Wilson is dead. Counsel, I'm sure I don't need to remind you. You must provide compelling evidence. As we now know, this poison is completely harmless when ingested. Why would Dr. Wilson alone have been killed by the cure? So this will probably be in the post-mortem report. Let's just examine it before. Okay. No, not the post-mortem, right? It'd be in the medical report card. It's like if we look at this, because this details like, yeah, clearly a record. Yep. Okay. Killed. Extraction. Yep. Okay. So medical report, we present this because he had surgery in his mouth, thereby leaving an open wound for the poison to enter the bloodstream through. Okay, I should not have done this description. Great. Well, here we go. As Miss Brett so readily pointed out, she drank the same water as the professor. However, there was a fundamental and fatal difference between the two diners. A fatal difference? The toxic effects of Cure are only felt when the poison enters the body through an open wound. So, for a healthy person with no injuries, drinking it is completely harmless. But what if there was a wound inside the mouth of the person drinking the poisoned water?
Inside?
Yes, like the wound you might have if you had just been to the dentist and had a tooth extracted, for example. Miss Brett, you've acknowledged many times in your testimony already that you were well aware of Dr. Wilson's dental appointment that day. So that's it. You used that knowledge to orchestrate this. Is she laughing?
I don't like to repeat myself, but honestly, I can't resist. These childish courtroom games and your half-baked arguments are also puerile.
What do you mean?
Don't worry, little schoolboy. You'll find out soon enough.
What is she doing?
See, when you leave vital evidence lying around, you never know what might happen to it.
No!
I mean, it could just slip.
I wouldn't recommend that. For destruction of the evidence, I believe we could get like an inference against you.
Oh dear, how careless of me. I'm afraid some crucial evidence may have just been tragically destroyed.
No! Wait, the mere fact that... What is it? What just happened? It's the Englishwoman. She just smashed that bottle. In the Supreme Court. What a terrible blunder. Officer, what are you waiting for? Collect as much of the water from that broken bottle as possible at once.
You're wasting your time. This delightful carpet under my feet here was a gift from the British Empire. I assure you it will soak up the water beautifully. You have neither the technology nor the presence of mind to recover it.
Well, yeah, but like, the mere fact that you decide to destroy it, I think proves our point, does it not? Like, Judge, she destroyed the evidence. Clearly we can infer that means the evidence would have gone against her. Like, you are not as clever as you think you are. How could you? You would get away with this.
You can thump the bench and shout as much as you like, little boy. But I am afraid we'll never know now, will we? If there really was poison in the bottle or not.
You.
And let us not forget, we still have some very compelling evidence left intact. Isn't that right, counsel for the prosecution?
Oh, of course. You're referring to this photographic print, I presume, dear lady.
Really? Okay, you're corrupt. You should get thrown in jail after this. Like, you're just going along with this. She destroyed evidence.
That's right, and looking at this photograph, it's as clear as day, isn't it? The poor professor was sitting with his back to me.
Yeah?
So of course the only person who could have shot him from the front is the little schoolboy.
Objection!
No, you killed the victim that day, using cure air. And then, in order to frame Yunosuke Naruto for the crime, you waited until he picked up the pistol you'd arranged for him to find on the floor, before you shot the professor's dead body in the chest with your own hidden gun. Then, in the confusion that followed, all you had to do was turn the dead professor and his chair around. You see? You had every opportunity to commit this crime.
What a wonderful imagination you have, young man. A hidden gun, you say? And I shot the professor's dead body, did I? Well, I'm terribly sorry, but you don't have a shred of evidence.
We have the evidence that you destroyed evidence to hide something! Does no one else see this?
Exactly. How are you still on board with this? And as you have nothing to support your wild claims, the prosecution's stance remains unchanged.
Judge! The prosecution is endorsing the destruction of evidence! Can I get like some sort of ruling or something against him? Like this he should be disbarred for this.
The victim, Dr. John H. Wilson, was killed by a gunshot to the chest. Delivered in cold blood by the accused, Ryunosuke Naruto.
This is ridiculous. This is a kangaroo court. Judge. Please demonstrate you have more than 10 IQ points. This is unbelievable. How could this be happening? This should be zero pressure on me right now. I'm not, like... Again, are we just going to ignore that the witness, with the consent and, approval of the prosecution, destroyed vital evidence? Are we all just forgetting this? Specifically, we have her. No, we didn't had her. We have her. The mere fact that she went out of her way to destroy evidence as soon as it looked like it was turning against her means that we can very easily infer that the evidence would have shown what we were, saying, and therefore we can Anyways, but now, is she really going to get away with it? The way she destroyed that evidence was obscene. Yes! Can we, Judge, control your courtroom. Ryunosuke. Yes? You've come this far, but now you're the only one who can finish it. What? What do you mean? We've lost a vital piece of evidence, it's true. So if there are any clues left for us to use now, they must be in your head. In my head? You told me before that your powers of observation were the one thing you could really depend on. Well, yes, that's True, but I didn't manage to notice that this woman was a foreigner with a swan on her head. So think back again now. Try to remember every last detail about the scene that day. Everything you saw, everything you felt, every color, every smell. I'll try. What I saw? What I felt? Every color. Is Kazuma right? Somewhere in the vibrant memory of the same scene in my head. Could there be another clue to expose the identity of Dr. Wilson's killer? Yes. Actually, Kazuma, I think I might have something. Thinking back over everything I saw, I think I might have uncovered another clue. You always have something up your sleeve, don't you, Inosuke? Come on, then. Let's wipe that smug smile off that Englishwoman's face with some evidence. All right. I can't wait.